Convivial Revival, Orchid, 9 months later, New York City. Have you ever been in the middle of a moment, an instant that's suspended between what was and what is about to be? At the age of 28, Orchid Paige thought that her parents might be proud to witness her life from their vantage point in heaven. She loved her friends, had built a career, and secured a temporary work assignment in her mom's ancestral country. This past year, she'd almost given up hope for one last fragment of happiness after she'd fallen for Phoenix Walker, advertising wonderkind, athlete, entrepreneur, and he'd abandoned her. She hadn't known at the time that he'd left to shield her from his life-changing accident. Tonight, they'd attended his ex-girlfriend Tisha's wedding. She'd agreed to accompany him as an opportunity to say farewell before she moved overseas. Then the truth of the evening unfurled into an unexpected twist. Phoenix's words had promised the missing piece to her joy. Tell me we can try again, long distance, or I'll find business in China. Her chest had expanded with possibility, and a kiss that was soft, urgent, and not quite enough to compensate for their lost months. He was gorgeous, from the intensity of his cobalt blue irises to the scruff of yesterday's beard. To ensure she'd never make him feel less than, she didn't focus on the rounded end of his forearm, visible below his cuffed-up sleeve. She returned to the present moment as dancing throngs parted. Her feet tapped along to the pace of the DJ's pounding bass line. Their round table and Phoenix's twin Caleb came into view. Even from afar, she could see the bride's sorority sister Gail draped over Caleb's massive shoulder, yapping into his ear. Caleb eyed Phoenix in Orchid's approach and began to push his chair back. He gestured towards an invisible watch on his tattooed wrist, indicating to them that it was time to depart. Phoenix leaned closer to Orchid and murmured, "Are you ready?" She squeezed Phoenix's palm. "If we don't go, I might do something terrible to Gail." After Gail had asked about his injuries, she declared, "I could have never survived that," making his life sound impossibly dire. Phoenix's frown had sparked Orchid's protectiveness. He chuckled. "I'll help." Protecting him was the least she could do. After the losses he'd sustained to save a man's life, it seemed unjust for Gail to hurt his feelings with unthinking words. Caleb stood and joined them before they reached the table. "Bye," he said to Gail, and stalked a step ahead of them. "Tell Tish we said Mazel Tov," Phoenix called to Gail, who gave a crestfallen expression as she waved goodbye. The threesome's pace accelerated towards the exit. Outside, the April air cleared some of her tequila fog. Her reservations had yet to fully form. They were perfect, as long as he would follow through on his commitments. They were perfect, as long as she didn't allow herself to be triggered by the injuries that he had tried to hide from the wedding photographer's lens. Along the quiet street where their car was parked, an inky black sky opened over their heads. Like a sign, a star flickered, faint and far. Orchid ducked to deposit herself into the limo,